Hey guys, welcome to my channel Photographic Memory. Today's video is about the postnatal growth of mandible. So let's start with it. Now, mandible undergoes the largest amount of growth postnatally and it also exhibits a large variability in its morphology. Now, in an adult, the mandible appears as a single bone, but it develops from various skeletal subunits. Now, the skeletal subunits of mandible are, first one is the ramus. Ramus is over here. This is the ramus. Okay. Then second one is the angular process. Third one is the coronoid process. Now, coronoid process is over here. This one is the coronoid process. Fourth is the condylar process, which is this one. This one is the condylar process. Fifth one is the chin of the mandible. Now the chin of the mandible is over here. The fifth one, yeah. Then sixth one is the alveolar process. Now this is the alveolar process which comprises of the tooth bud during the developing stage. Seventh one is the angle of the mandible. Seventh one is the angle of the mandible. This one. Eighth one is the body of the mandible. This one is the body of the mandible. The whole from the angle to the chin is the body of the mandible. Okay, then comes the ninth one, which is the lingual tuberosity, which you can see at the lingual side of the mandible. This I have drawn is the buccal side. Okay, now let's study the postnatal growth of mandible in each subunits. So first one is the ramal process. This is the ramus of the mandible. So how it grows? Now normally the resorption occurs at the anterior part. This is the anterior part of the ramus. So resorption occurs at the anterior part of the ramus, whereas deposition occurs at the posterior region of the ramus, and thus there is a drift towards the posterior direction. So the mandible, that is the ramus of the mandible, grows posteriorly. Okay, now this drift is very important for its functions, that is it accommodates the increase in mass of the masticatory muscle. It also accommodates the enlarged breadth of the pharyngeal space, and third, it also accommodates the erupting molars in the body. So yeah, second one is the body of the mandible. As you saw in the previous diagram, that this portion was the body of the mandible. Now how the body of the mandible grows? It grows posteriorly. Okay, so as the ramus of the mandible grows posteriorly, this body of the mandible also lengthens in size. So as observed earlier, the anterior border of the ramus of the mandible showed resorption, whereas the posterior part showed deposition. This causes the displacement of the ramus of the mandible posteriorly, which indirectly causes the elongation of the body of the mandible. Then comes the angle of the mandible. Now, as you have seen in the previous diagram, that this portion is the angle of the mandible, right? Okay, this portion is the angle of the mandible. So these are the two diagrams which depicts the growth of postnatal growth of angle of the mandible. This is the buccal aspect. So in the buccal aspect, we can see that there is resorption which occurs anterior superiorly, while there is deposition which occurs posterior superiorly. This is the anterior superior part, whereas this is the posterior superior part. Okay, and on the lingual aspect, as we see, there is resorption which takes place at the posterior inferior part, whereas there is deposition which takes place at the anterior superior part. Because of this, there is a resulting flaring of the angle of the mandible, and it advances as per age. So next one is the condylar process. So this is the condylar process of the mandible. The condylar process is the most important growth center of the mandible, because this condylar process articulates in the glenoid fossa. So here there will be an glenoid fossa, over which this growth of the condylar process is seen normally in the age between 12 to 14 years, and this growth ceases around 20 years of age. So there are two schools of thoughts which are regarding the role of condyle in the growth, that is the postnatal growth. First school of thought was that this condylar process grows towards the cranial base. Because of this condyle pushes the cranial base upwards and the entire mandible gets displaced forward and downwards. This was the first school of thought. Now, second school of thought was that the growth of this condylar processes occurs primarily due to the soft tissues, that is the muscles and connective tissues that cover this area, or the muscles of mastication, as you can see. So it primarily occurs because of muscles of mastication and all the connective tissues, and secondarily it occurs due to bone growth. Then we come to the chin of the mandible. Okay, as you can see, this is the chin of the mandible. How the growth occurs is that as the age advances, the growth of the chin becomes significant. So you can see a prominent chin mostly in males. So there is an resorption of bone taking place over here, which forms an concavity over this area, and which signifies the point B in cephalometric diagrams. Then there is bone deposition, which takes place at the prominent tip of the chin, which gives us a prominent chin, mostly in cases of male. Then we have the alveolar process. So in alveolar process, the growth of this is the alveolar process. Okay. So in alveolar process, the growth occurs in response to the presence of the tooth buds. So that is the developing tooth. So as the teeth erupts in the alveolar process, it causes an increase in the height by bone deposition at the margins, and it also causes an increase in the thickness of the alveolar bone. So these two are the important points in alveolar process. Second one after this is the lingual tuberosity. Okay, so this one is the lingual tuberosity. This is the lingual tuberosity. Yeah. This tuberosity moves posteriorly by deposition on its posterior facing surface. As you can see, this one is the fossa. Okay, so here, right over here, there will be a lingual tuberosity, that is the linguula. So the growth of lingual tuberosity occurs as follows. There is deposition occurring over here, whereas there is resorption occurs over the posterior side of the lingual fossa. Because of this, the lingual tuberosity right over here moves posteriorly. There is a combination of resorption in the fossa and deposition on the medial surface of the tuberosity, which accentuates the prominence of the lingual tuberosity over here. Yeah. Then we have the coronoid process. The growth of coronoid process follows a V principle. So as you can see, this is the occlusal view of the mandible. So there is growth occurring with respect to the V principle. So in this view, you can see there is deposition occurring at the lingual surface, that is the medial surface over here. In this way, the postnatal growth of mandible occurs. So yeah, this was all about the postnatal growth of mandible. Put in the comment section below what all videos you want to watch and on what topics. I'm open with all suggestions. If you like this video, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel, Photographic Memory. Till then, I'll come up with more videos. Take care.